So she sends her apologies.
Okay.
So the DG said he's in St. Martin. So any other Saturday after he returns from St. Martin is good for him. So we await Amaryllis to let us know when she will be available.
Okay.
I have a huge announcement to make, which I'm so happy about, so I can now sleep at night. We got the grant. Meaning it
all right.
I'm like, yes! When I saw the
email, glad. Oh,
so
fantastic.
I was like, ready for the DG this morning. So when Ryan sent that email during the weekend, I was like, Diana, please. I even mumbled my email to Diana, asking her to just send the information to Ryan, please, so that he can send it to us next week. So that means that by the following week, we can have some serious discussions about moving forward with the project. If Ryan is true to his promise that we should get the funds by next week.
Good.
Right? Yes.
Congratulations, dear President.
All of us, yes, I feel good for us as a club, you know.
Yes.
I was very concerned about the image of Rotary because the Women's Foundation is an international program, meaning they have international visual, right? Persons from all over the world help them. And I was very concerned about them, you know, sending a bad message about us as a Rotary club, not just the E-Club, just Rotary. So I'm happy that the district was able to fulfill their promise of the grant. All right, so this morning's agenda, as I hinted yesterday in the email, we're gonna talk about what Rotary's initiative is in terms of planting trees. And then our Sarge has a program for us after. So I'll hand over. I'm going to leave the meeting about 15 minutes before we end, or 20 minutes. I'm having some leaks and a roofman is supposed to come and look at my roof. All
Hello.
right. Hi, Bonita?
Yes, hi.
Hi, welcome.
Thank you.
All right, so this is going to be an open floor meeting regarding the tree project because I don't have a plan. Right? So we just need to decide as a club what we want to do. Clearly, we can't meet as a club physically. So, you know, I just want to hear from you guys as to what you think we should do to make an impact so that we can spread the word that this is what we did as a project this year. Sarge, I'm going to ask you to just look and see who wants to speak. Howard, are you there? Yes, okay.
Yes, I'm here.
Yeah, so those who want to give feedback you can just indicate who wants to talk first, etc. So anybody?
Yeah, Howard or Bonita, could we please have Bonita muted because the background is hard on the ears.
Sorry about it.
Let me. Thank you.
Okay.
All right, so let me start.
Dawn had her hand up.
Sure.
Go ahead, Dawn.
I have a couple of options. I could show you outside, but the ground's covered with snow here, so there will be no tree planting for another couple of months.
Oh, wow.
I could either look for the spot out in front of my house. It might be possible because they've had to go clean out a lot of the old trees that were getting to be root problems, but I'm not sure if I would get permission to plant one in the median right by the street because they don't want to repeat those problems. Or there's the Hamilton County Park District where I could see what it would cost to put in a tree with a little plaque on it. Or I could go down to H-Trip where next Tuesday, and they've got a tree planting program. So I could chip in for that in Haiti, which wouldn't have a name on it or anyway, but I could say chipped in for so many, and that's probably the cheapest thing for me.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea, Dawn.
Roger? Hold on. Yeah, well, a couple of things. Just listening to Dawn. Dawn, would it be possible to I mean, I don't know if you've made any contacts with the nearest Rotary club, but given that this is an RI thing, would it be possible for you to link up with them and do something if they were going to do anything? That's my first thought. I'll just throw that out there listening to you.
I could check that as well, just to tag along with somebody else's project.
Yeah. I mean, maybe put the E-Club name on it or your name or something on it, but do it as part of a bigger thing. Or you may even stimulate them to do something. Who knows?
I can check my connections.
Yeah, okay. Individually, I don't know, Diana, do you want to join in? I mean, we our idea, not terribly imaginative, but obviously we're in Spain and we have a reasonable sized yard here. And our idea was to personally plant trees, a tree at least, maybe one each, as our contribution, and just report to you that we'd done that. There isn't really a Rotary club locally that we can. Well, there is. The nearest one is some distance away, and unfortunately, it's very Spanish, and we would have difficulty trying to get them involved, I think, or even to understand us. So that was our rather unimaginative idea of joining in. I don't know what anyone else thinks of that.
But they would be fruit trees, so they would be trees that feed as well as you know, are good for the environment. So I'm going to try and show you. We have an orchard that has 20 orange trees, and we need to put some lemons in.
Ooh, wow.
So, so that was our idea, that maybe we don't have any lemons at the moment, or limes, come to that.
Okay, Henriette, you had your hand up?
Yes, I just wanted to say that I started an avocado, you know, with the grain in the nut in a pot of water, trying to make it sprout. And I was planning to plant it in the garden of the property here. But it doesn't seem to want to do anything, but just stay there. And
did you put it upside down?
What do you mean upside down? Of course.
The pointed part should be
In the water.
Up. No, not in the water. The bottom part has to be in the water.
Yeah, the bottom part is in the water. I mean,
the flat part at the top, that should be in the water, and then that's how it does it. Anyway.
No, I mean, I tried it one way. No,
it was in the.
It's just the third one that I'm trying, and everybody around here is more knowledgeable than I am, and every time they tell me do this, do that, and so this time I didn't do it. It's just the expert who put 4 little pieces and put it there and say you just put some water on it every 2 days to keep it to a certain level, and it hasn't germed yet. So.
Did you get it from the food store or from the market?
No, from the market.
Okay.
What?
That's very strange. It should have done it.
But you know, it's I don't know what they're doing to avocado trees nowadays. But what do you mean by a farm? It's a market. I mean, it's a. I guess it's a food store.
If you get it from the food store, they chill it before they get it there, and so it will not grow.
Oh, it will not grow. Okay.
But if you get it from the market, like it came from, you know.
But it grows in Guadeloupe. They don't. It doesn't come through a container. I mean, so. It's not.
That's what I mean. If it's local, it should grow. Yeah. There shouldn't be a problem. But if we get it, like we get avocados from the food store because they don't grow up here, and so they're partially.
Oh yeah, no, I know. I mean, that's different. Do you want to see? I can show you the little glass if you want to see what it's. You can give me your advice on it. I mean, I'm trying my best. Just a minute.
Well, I think you're probably doing it right, but it just doesn't grow. Up here we have, in Virginia, there's a program you can plant a tree. And we actually have Arbor Day. And I already donate to that. So I don't know if that counts.
I think what is important for us to do is whatever trees that we're planting, if we can get someone to take a picture of us beside the tree or actually planting the tree, and then we put together some sort of collage and then we send it up for, you know, Club of the Month or whatever. But
Yeah,
just
we need to record it, yeah.
see that we're doing, you know, we're a part of the initiative in our own way, the best that we can do.
Mm.
But I think, you know, what everyone has said so far, they're excellent ideas. Okay, Henriette, you have your pear tree to show us?
Yeah, that looks like you're doing it right, Henriette.
Yeah, but nothing is coming.
Well, how long has you had it in the water?
2 weeks.
Are you talking to it, Henriette?
Sorry?
Are you talking to it?
Oh,
you have to say, I love
hey,
you.
come
I
on.
want you to grow.
Well, Shirley gives us the answer, which is no.
I'm giving it water, you know.
You have my heart. I am like that same way. Like, I'm talking to anyone. But yes, I've heard, Anna, that when you speak to plants, you know, that is very, very important. Up to 2 weeks ago, I was having a conversation about that exact same thing.
Okay.
Apparently.
Well, I mean, are you supposed to wipe the thing down there? I mean, can you see it? You see? I'm not sure whether it's glue or whether it's a normal process. It should be like this. You know.
I have no idea.
I don't know.
I don't know whether it's you know, just mold and it's not going to grow, or whether it's trying to do something. So.
Well, you'll see it cracking at the bottom, and then the root will start to come out.
You want me to crack the bottom?
No, it will do it on its own.
Oh, it's okay. I can help him. I can help it.
Bonita, can we mute Bonita? She's reversing. We can hear her.
Upside down.
So I have some trees on my balcony. I mean, not really trees, but plants, and they grow very well. So every time they reach the ceiling, I cut, put them in water, they do roots, and I plant them again. So I can do that.
Yeah.
In the name of Rotary. You want that?
Can I ask a question? I also planted it last week. Before I came to St. Martin, I planted avocado tree and a citrus tree. So, but how to go about the project? But because I planted them in my yard.
Did you have any photographs?
Did you take a photograph of it?
No, I can. When I go back to Curacao, I can take 2 photographs.
Yeah, and then send it to Leslie, and she can put it in with the. It's still planting a tree.
Right. Diana, do you know when the deadline is for this initiative to be presented to Rotary? For all clubs to tell Rotary what we're doing? Do you know? I know Amaryllis knows, but I was just wondering if you know.
Well, it's part of the DG award, isn't it? And that's the 15th of March.
The 15th? Oh, okay, yeah. Yeah. Okay, so I'll just take pictures and I'll send them the 2 trees that I just planted.
Okay.
So I guess if you want to put it all together, Leslie, you probably need the photos by the end of February.
Yeah, by the end of February, or by the middle of, I would say by the middle of February, just to be safe. If persons can send it to me by then or before then, that would be good. I would love to, you know, put it up for Club of the Month, and as well as the DJ award when we're dealing with our awards for the year.
Okay, what I can do is.
Well, also, what is unique is that we are planting trees around the world, literally. I mean, that's pretty unique.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, what I can do, I have a very good neighbor here, and she plants everything in the property. So I can go and talk to her, and she has a very good green thumb, and ask her to put a tree down up for me, and you know, sit next to her and take a picture.
Nice. Is it all of us if all of us can wear a Rotary logoed shirt, it doesn't have to say E-Club. So if all of us can pose for the picture with a club shirt, and you know, while we're planting the tree or beside the tree or whatever, I think that will be great if we can do that.
I think I have the shirt that you had made for us when we were
in Mobile,
in Jamaica, in Montego Bay.
Yes,
So
that would be nice.
It doesn't fit very well, but I'll just make believe, you know.
It was like they just to the logo, that's all. Yes,
that's right.
I have a gazillion Rotary shirts, but I don't think any of them are from this club. They're all conference shirts.
But for the picture, you can have anyone.
That being said,
we know you know you're ours. We know you're ours now.
That being said, I think we should have Rotary Club shirts this year, like we did that year.
Like we did in Jamaica, yes.
Yeah, I think we should do that again.
Sarge?
Yes, I'm here.
Roger's hand has been up for a while.
Oh, go ahead, Roger.
No, I was just going to reinforce, I think Diana's idea about the fact that, I mean, it didn't strike me either, but I think it is worth emphasizing that if the members of this club plant trees where they are, how many clubs can say that their members planted trees in X countries around the world? I think that's pretty impressive. I think that would get people's attention.
I think it's important, yes. This is why I'm going to pursue and plant something.
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe when we do the presentation, however we're going to do it, we could have on the map of the world, literally, and pinpoint where we all are and where we're planting, so that it really then does illustrate it. I mean, we're only going to cover from Europe, Africa, across to the United States, but even so, there'll be quite a few dots from places, which might be a good pictorial evidence.
Absolutely.
Well, and down through the Caribbean. I mean, we're just looking at the people in front of me. We've got Guadeloupe, Jamaica, Curacao, you know, and that's impressive all on its own. And then you add the other places. I think that's a good idea. I really do.
And if we get Jackie to plant one in
there you go, St. Croix,
in Texas. No, she's in Texas.
Oh yeah, she could plant one there. Yeah. Or maybe we send her back to St. Croix to plant one there. You see.
Don't you think that in Texas it would be nice also?
Yes. Oh yes. She could do both.
Yes,
well,
she is a ubiquitous.
We could go further and try and see if any of us have Rotary contacts that would be willing to plant a tree in the name of the E-Club. You know, they could be in Australia, they could be wherever, but if they're doing it in the name of our club,
that's an excellent idea, Diana.
Yeah.
That's a great idea.
Great idea, yes.
Yeah. Okay.
So what I'm going to do is send an email before the end of the day to everybody, just outlining what we have decided to do as a club. I was going to say I was going to talk to Amaryllis, but I don't know when Amaryllis will be available to about the club, the project. So I may just talk to Diana just to run an idea by her via email, and then I'll get back to everybody.
Sure.
Okay.
We met them.
All right. Is there anything else that we want to talk about before I hand over to the Sarge? Any announcements? Diana, did I miss anything regarding district?
Well, everyone knows what the new theme is. Oh, hi, Jackie.
Here she is.
Oh, hi, Jackie.
Everyone knows what the new theme is, yes? For next year?
Yes.
Oh,
yes.
For next year? No.
Oh.
I don't, to be very honest.
well, you know that the president for next year for Rotary International is from our district. We all know, do we?
Yes.
It's Be the Initiative or Be the I something is Barry's theme.
Be the inspiration.
Be the inspiration.
Okay. But every year when the governors get trained, they bring the governors from all over the world, 530 odd of them, and they get trained in San Diego, and it's always in January, and it is at that time of year that the president-elect announces their theme, gives a significant speech about the thought behind the theme, why he chose it, why he thinks it's good, how the governors can interpret it, and how they can ask their clubs to interpret it. So that all happened on the 15th of January was the day that Barry gave his speech. If you wish to see the speech, it is up on the Rotary website. So take a look at it, because it's very impressive, and frankly, we should all be very proud that because he has used the fact that he is Bahamian, and he talks about the water that surrounds his island and all the islands of our district, but how the water also connects us all, because everyone, that water goes literally around the world. So it's a great speech. So please take the time to listen to it.
Yeah, my father actually emailed it to me, and I just didn't have time this week to watch it. So I'm going to watch it today. Anything else, Paul? Congratulations. We met the deadline for the Butterfly Storybook. Henriette, you have it now?
I have the text. Yes, I have Lou sent me the edited text. Now I have the 10 stories. And I am going to spend my day translating as fast as I can. And I just wanted to say about the translation in Creole, although I can't really supervise it this time, but you do remember that Gauvin Renaud from Haiti had his school, the students in his school translating for us from English directly to Haitian. So I don't know if you want to ask him to wait for the French translation or to do it or what. I would be very happy if somebody could pick up the link and try, or if you have somebody else, because Diana, you mentioned Rotaract, right? You said that Rotaract people could help. So if you have someone, we don't need to go into that direction again. That was my contribution to the translation in Creole, because I do think that it would be a good idea to have it done in Creole this time too, especially because the district conference is there.
Which Rotaract club are you thinking of?
I'll let you update Henriette on that.
So you're okay.
You're on mute. We can't hear you, Paul.
No, he's not mute.
I'm hearing you.
Okay.
Something.
I'll actually be seeing one of the members of I think it's the Rotaract Club of Port-au-Prince on Wednesday.
Well, unless Paul, can we hear you now? No, okay. We have one of the past AGs in Haiti has agreed to take this on for us and organize it, and we also hope to be having the books printed in Haiti. They were before, and quite successfully, so that would also save save the transportation from one to the other. So unless that falls down, that's where we are at the moment. So hopefully that will all go through. The other thing that I know that the committee were interested in doing is getting some of the books and take them ourselves to a primary school in Haiti and delivering them and donating them while we were there at the conference. But it actually occurred to me this morning, and I don't know what you think, but that if we if we could market it ahead of time, anyone who wanted, if the Haitian Rotarians could organize a school that is in reasonable proximity to the conference venue, that we could then ask our clubs or any Rotarian who wanted to join us, they're welcome to join us and give and donate their own book to the school. So that way we get them sold and delivered to the school as well. So that was just a thought I had, but I haven't run that past Paul or Lou. So I don't know how they would feel about that.
And Lou, thank you so much as well, and congratulations to you. And for those of us who may not know, Lou is our de facto secretary. Brent has been having a lot of challenges, so I really want to express my sincere gratitude, Lou, for all that you've been doing for the club under these difficult challenges.
My pleasure.
Oh, thank you, Lou.
Paul left us. I think he's trying to sort out his sound. Anything else on the butterfly storybook, Lou, that we need to know or you want to announce?
No, I think Paul and Diana have it well under control, and it's moving forward. Diana found some beautiful pictures, so that part of it I think is pretty well done, eh, Diana?
I believe so. That I'm still looking for one or two others, but I think we've got most of the stories covered with the images, because I just don't want Amaryllis to be stressed out thinking that she's got to find those. So all that will be left is for me to actually download the ones that are not proofs and to pay for those. And we usually have $100 in the budget to cover the graphics, and I don't think they're going to come to that much. So. But Lou, I do want to have a bit more exchange with you about the one that you were concerned about, the difference, because I think we need to, we need to decide how to do it. The issue for the rest of the members is that, if you remember, the story was about a friendship with a child that was badly deformed, and it seemed to me that since that was the essence of the story, we needed to illustrate it. But obviously we don't want to put in, an unpleasant photograph for children to read. So I had kind of altered a graphic. Let me see if I can get it up for you, because
actually,
I would really like input on what everybody feels about this. It was really quite difficult to see what was the best thing to do. So hold on, let me.
Actually, Diana, you had asked me, I just read that email this morning. You were wondering why I didn't like it. And the reason I didn't like it was when I saw it initially, I thought it looked busy, because it had the dreamscape, all that protection stuff on it,
Yes.
Ownership, protection. That was the only reason I didn't like it. I thought other than that, it would be fine.
Oh, okay. Well, let me just share it.
I thought that was actually well done, just how you made the little change with
Okay. Why can't I share this? Hold on. I don't know why it's not. Oh, there we go. Can you see that?
It's coming up, Diana.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
So we'll probably actually only use 3 rather than 4 girls.
Mm-hmm.
But you can see what I did, and it was to alter the line of the eyes and the smile to one side, because I really didn't know how else we could illustrate that story. But I'd be more than happy to get input from you. But obviously it won't have all this marking on it. This was just the the sample one, so that I could share it with the team. And then if we decide to go with it, then I'll purchase one that obviously doesn't have all these shapes and writing all over it.
Well, I think you should go with it.
I think
and,
so.
And I do like the idea of 3 instead of the 4.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
I like it, and I got the message as soon as I looked at it. Maybe I don't know, maybe because we're discussing it, but to me, she doesn't look right.
Yeah, it's subtle.
So.
It's very subtle.
No.
Yes, very subtle.
Yeah.
Yes, I just didn't want it to look frightening. You know, some children would be very affected by that. So
Yeah. No, that's perfect.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, great. So we can go ahead with that then. Thank you.
Henri, go ahead.
Yes, go ahead.
If anybody could remind me what is the deadline for translation, that would be nice. It's ASAP as usual, or do you have a date?
I don't know. That question is for Paul. I'm not sure. Did he not give you a date?
No.
Paul, you're there?
Okay.
We had discussed in a meeting once. I don't know if somebody took notes because we worked it backward from what Henriette said she needed time in order to get it ready. And we kind of figured our drop dead print date and worked back from there. But I don't know if it made it into any minutes.
I don't think that I jotted down the date in this.
Okay.
You know, it would be nice to have a deadline because I am going berserk and I want to do it really fast, but
is the middle of February reasonable for you, Henriette?
Middle of February would be like 15th of February. It's about a month. Yes, that should be. Yes.
Yeah, it's a little short of a month, probably about 3 weeks.
Okay, I'll try. I mean, I have to do it. I said I will do it. I'll have to do it. It's just that I have to put it in perspective because, I mean, you know, you plan something and life gets different. And again, you know, I mentioned briefly at the beginning, I don't want to dwell on my health, but I was called from the hospital to tell me that on Tuesday I have to get the infiltration. And so I had to cancel all sorts of things and have tests, etc. And I know that for 2 days I will be out of commission. So that's the period where my sister is coming from Milan to spend 10 days with me. So, you know, it's just that all of a sudden it's taking another dimension. But today I have nothing on my agenda, and tomorrow I have to make the bed to make sure that she is welcome when she gets in. That's all. So
okay. Well,
we shall overcome. It's my priority. So we said 15th of February by the latest.
Thank you so much, Henriette.
Okay.
Because I know that you have other projects working on as well.
No, but I need to put a deadline here, you know.
Yes.
If it's not there, then it doesn't work.
I understand. Anything else before I hand over to the Sarge?
Hand it over to the Sarge. I mean, he's been dying to talk to us.
Sarge, on the floor. Guys, if you see me disappear, as I explained before, I have some stuff to do. So, but I'm going to hand over to the Sarge, and we spoke very, very early in the morning about today. So go ahead, Howard, and thank you.
Bye-bye, Leslie, if you disappear.
Thanks, Leslie. I don't sleep at all. I'm a night owl. Good morning, everyone. And as I said, it's been raining crazy here. So forgive my mood if I look a little melancholy, but it's been raining since Monday. Not fun. This is the vacation month, and I know some time ago persons discussed their vacation, and I just wanted to end the meeting on that same theme. There are 4 questions that I have, or 3 questions that I have, and I'd like you to think about it. I'm going to play a short video. The first one is, what did you want to be as a child growing up? The second question is, are you working in that area? The third question is, if you are working in that area, describe your journey. And if you're not working in that area, talk about what happened, why it is that you didn't end up there. And then finally, which is more important for me because I need the help. I have young people that I work with, and I need a discussion centered around how do we guide the young persons in their 20s, 20, 23, 24, guide them towards their ideal, their passion, their dream, their goal. So while I play this 2-minute video, I'd ask you to think on the questions, and then we'll come right back to the discussion.
I've discovered then that the two most important days in my life are the day you're born and the day you find out why.
Ah, that's so
Those
important.
2 days
Yeah.
are phenomenal days.
Yeah, I thought it was very interesting because in the book you say there's your talent, but then there's your gift. And until you discover what your gift is, you are really sort of like aimlessly going through life. You're not really on purpose.
No, see, your talent, you can be a good accountant. You can be a good lawyer. That could be your talent.
Yeah.
But your gift is something. See, your talent will allow you to have a wonderful career. But this is what I've learned. Your career is what you paid for. Your calling is what you made for. Your calling is tied directly to your gift.
Yeah.
It's the only way.
So what is your gift? Let's help people distinguish between the two.
Okay. My talent is I'm funny. That's my talent. But it's also closely tied to my gift. Now, it took me a minute to learn. I'm gifted at humor. I can make anything funny. But I've learned that my actual gift is I can take information, transpose it immediately, and it comes out into humor. But I can take information, transpose it immediately, and come out in motivation. I can take
Why do you want to leave this meeting and join me?
I can take information, transpose it immediately, and it come out in uplift. So my real gift, I thought it was just funny. But God didn't make me this just to be funny. He made me this for a calling, for a purpose, that he needed to make me famous, to get me known enough so I could sit here with a person like Oprah Winfrey and have no shame in telling everybody it's him. Have no shame in saying this is how it's done. Absolutely. No shame. But all of that was to get me here.
Okay. So back to the screen. Can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Oh, okay. So back to the questions now. I can start with myself, what I wanted to be. I can remember as far back as 16, 17, there were two things that I wanted to do in life. One or the other. I wanted to be a pilot because I loved planes. I still do. I still have miniature planes and helicopters around. And funnily enough, when I go to the toy store, there's a competition between myself and my daughter because I'm torn between finding toys for her and finding miniature planes for myself at this age, believe it or not. The second thing was to be a career diplomat. I found that I enjoyed arbitrating. I liked having discussions and coming to a conclusion and getting win-win at the end of it. And I also still love languages. And so I thought that what better way to pursue my dream than to pursue languages in high school and at the university. And I almost made it to my goal of being a diplomat. I remember in university, the then Prime Minister of Jamaica, this was my final year of university, sent a message, the Office of the Prime Minister sent a message to the faculty at the time that they were looking for two of the top students in the Department of French to accompany him to Haiti, because he was taking a delegation to Haiti to establish business ties, and they wanted 2 students to accompany them to do freelance translating. And as luck would have it, I was one of the 2 students. And for the first time in my life, I had the opportunity to see what life was like in that sort of environment where you have government ministers, you have diplomats. I met the president of Haiti at the time, which was René Preval, I believe his name was. We dined at state dinners. We had police escorts. I mean, I was living my dream of 16 or 17. Lo and behold, I tried to pursue it. We had a school of international law in Trinidad, which was the next step for me. But life happened. And so I diverged from all of those, neither pilot, neither diplomat. I'm now working in tourism. So that was my journey. And I would like now to hear from anyone, what their goal was. Our goal was as a child. And if you're working in that area, your profession, your vocation, how did you do it? So the floor is now open to all.
Okay, you want me to start?
Sure, go ahead, Anne.
Okay. The funny thing is that when I was a child, can you hear me?
Yes, hold on, I think. Okay, go ahead.
When I was a child, really a small child, I was still living in Cairo. My sister and I were in the same bedroom, and we were making plans for when we would grow up, what we were going to do. And at the time, I couldn't imagine anything more tempting than being a teacher. So I was seeing myself as a teacher, and how I would make school. I would have the students. I would be, of course, a very good teacher. Then at the age that you describe, after having wanted to be a pilot myself, I wanted to be an actress. And that was going to be my vocation. Fortunately, my father decided that his daughter would never be an actress, and so I had to compensate. And this is how I ended up a teacher, professor, whatever, teaching, acting with and translator. So for communication, and I guess that my talent as an actress to make the difference that your video showed, my talent as an actress helped me to be to perform my call as a go-between and teacher and putting information from one end to the other. So that's where I stand now. Is that okay? Does it feel what you wanted? You're muted, Howard. I can't hear you. Your mouth is moving, but I don't hear a thing.
Sorry about that. Yes. Thank you so much. Anyone else cares to share before I ask some more questions?
I will.
Go ahead, Roger.
Well, it's interesting, Howard, because certainly my about the same age as you, my ambition from a very young age was to be a pilot. That was the only thing I was really. Unlike you, I didn't have an alternative. Oh. That was it. And the reason I didn't pursue it was academic failing, because in order to go to any sort of flight school of any, I wanted to be a commercial pilot, not a military pilot. Was that one of my academic weaknesses, of which there are many, sciences are not my strong point, and you need to be certainly a physicist to become a pilot. So I had to adjust. The other part of that ambition was my desire to travel. So even when I did decide I had to change direction, I was very keen that whatever I did would enable me to travel, hopefully at my employer's expense, which I was able to do for many years, and mostly to very nice places. And as a result, I'm part of this club, because if we hadn't gone to the Caribbean, we wouldn't be part of this club. So there's a trail in there that ended up in the Caribbean.
Okay, thank you for sharing, Roger. So I have a fellow pilot in the group, so we can share ideas. Okay, so I think we all recognize that we have dreams and aspirations, And as you mentioned, Roger, one of your reasons for not pursuing it was academics for you. For me, one of the reasons was family, because my mother didn't want me being in a plane because all she could think of was the negative. So that impacted on me a lot. And I gave that dream up. And as it relates to the diplomacy, a career in diplomacy, I just lost confidence in myself that I wouldn't be able to pass the competitive exam. And without even trying, I gave up. So this leads me now to the question, how do we guide the young amongst us? Maybe you have experience from your own parenting, your own children that are grown adults now. If they had challenges, how did you help them to navigate those challenges? As a manager in my area, I have occasion to interview people, young people. And one of the questions that I always ask is, where do you see yourself? And naturally, a lot of them can't see beyond tomorrow. You know, and I don't know if it's a generational thing or it's as it has always been, but I can remember as far back as 13, 10, 11, I had a plan. Whatever it was, however crazy it was, I had an imagination of what I wanted to do, where I wanted to be. And by 20, yeah, I could, kind of form it out and start the path. But now it's just difficult. It's really difficult to encounter somebody who can see beyond 2 years or 3 years. How do you, in your own professions, how do you or have you guided young people towards, attaining a dream or making the pathway to that dream? Anybody? Yes, Diana.
As we've been talking, the one thing that I have observed is that when I first went out to work, and I was 16 when I started work, and really the only thing that you were concerned when you started work when I was that age was that, can I earn enough money so that I'm, not a drain on my parents and that I can be independent. And it was a question of which was the best job that you could get. It didn't really, I would not at the time, it didn't really occur to me that, I was trying to fulfill a dream. What I think now happens, and I think I'm more encouraged in this way of thinking now, is to what is it that you are really passionate about? Because you should be happy in your job. And nobody said that to me. It wouldn't have occurred to me. I was just supposed to go out and work, and whether I liked it or not, that was something you had to do. So where I think the gap is often now is to encourage young people to find out what it is they're interested in. It doesn't matter if they can't see where that would go, but what are they interested in? What really makes them tick? And what are they passionate about? What they don't know is then to take that passion, where that can lead. That could lead into, I don't know, you like sport. Maybe you're never going to be a famous sports person, but you may be a trainer, you may be a therapist. You put these other avenues that are open. That's where I think the gap is often now. They know what they love to do, but can't translate that into work. That's the way I see it at the moment. But I'd be interested to know what everybody else thinks.
It's become a terrible problem in the U.S. because university is now so expensive that kids are coming up, and I don't know if they even teach in the basics of how to balance a checkbook and do life. Like I had to take a semester class just in the basics of adulting. But then they go and they go to these schools that are like $20,000 a year just to go through school and don't know better than to pick medieval literature or something that there isn't that distinct connection. And then when they get out with a degree, it's like, okay, now how the heck do I find a job? And so there's beginning to be more emphasis, at least from the parents screaming about the finances of how do you connect what you want to do to a job. But America has historically been very poor at helping people connect. This is the kind of thing you like to do. Well, these are the kind of jobs that are out there that use it, or that use those skills. Can you tell I now work in funding workforce projects? It's interesting with me in that I didn't have a whole ton of guidance other than that I came out of a family where service, international service, and even mission work was something that was highly regarded and definitely on the radar. And both my folks actually had done or tried to do some of it. And so I came up with the idea of, I'd like to be helpful to people, and I like geology, and surely there's some way to put that together. And I found ways to sort of narrow the focus, and had Peace Corps, which was very useful for an international career. And I knew it was something people recognized on resumes. So I went through that, and that helped me narrow things down. And what I wasn't told was that, what a lot of people aren't told was that, well, maybe you do one career for the first part of your working life, and then you may have to shift to another one, because by the time I was getting close to 50, I was just physically and mentally not going to be able to keep doing everything I was doing until I hit 70. Came back for sabbatical, which turned into resettling in my hometown, where there's not a whole lot of that type of work I was doing before. So now I'm shifting over actually into nonprofit fundraising, which is not what I expected to do. And then it's like, so now I'm doing at 50 what a lot of people wish they'd done at 20, is like, okay, how do I match up the two again? And none of it's really been particularly guided, other than sort of being a Christian staring at Jesus Christ saying, okay, what craziness do you have for me next? And then him sort of through that, literally through a lot of churches, getting you pondering the deep questions as you stare at God and say, okay, how do I respond to you? And then kind of getting led that way into some interesting connections that I wouldn't have seen on my own. But none of it was explicitly, let's help you find a job. It's all...
Thank you.
And I don't know whether America is moving the same way as Europe, but it seems that increasingly having a fancy degree is not necessarily what employers are looking for. Having done something, as you, Dawn, what is impressive is a young person who has joined something like the Peace Corps and has gone on and done something that is, somewhat unusual, but it also takes a lot of courage to do that, to go and live in a different country. That is now becoming far more impressive to potential employers than the fact that you've got through a university and have a splendid degree. So I don't know if it's moving that way in the States, but there's quite a lot to be said for it.
Yeah, if the concept is definitely moving, and the concept of there's a lot of good jobs that really you don't need to take on the debt of a four-year university, you can learn in less and be more efficient and be more targeted at the job. What hasn't changed yet, and some people are cracking heads on and some people are kind of protective of, is that the pay scales still highly weight or overweight the four-year degree. And there are so many jobs that pay but don't pay enough for a family to survive just on that one income. You have to have two incomes just to pay the basic bills. That has become a tremendous issue in workforce. There's a lot of jobs available in the U.S., but most of them don't pay a wage that even a single person can live on unless they're in a very cramped apartment. And we have a housing shortage that's just ridiculous for those sort of low-cost apartment type houses. So there's a lot of jobs that people can't truly live on, and it shows up in all kinds of statistics, and yet the pay scales are still heavily weighted to the traditional attitude of the four-year degree is the be-all and end-all of the middle class. And that's one of the pieces that has to get fixed right now.
Henriette, you had your hand up.
Yes, I just wanted to mention something about the employment situation in the world, I think, because the situation has changed quite a lot since I was a youngster. I mean, I remember being in New York and doing all sorts of jobs, like waitress, cashier, hostess um, in a gallery or whatever, just to make some money so that I could go on living. And it didn't matter. I was, I was doing whatever. Jobs were available. And in Guadeloupe, more than in France even, but in Europe generally, the employment situation is such that you can't really give to children or to teenagers an idea of what they will do later on. They're going to be unemployed, or they're going to be exploited, or they're going to have a shitty life because they won't make enough to have a house, to get married, to have raise children. And so there is the spirit of projecting oneself into a future where you can master your own life, which is terribly lacking in nowadays life. And I find it very, very hard to motivate youngsters to find their place in society. And more now, the governments are trying to tell them, find your own job, make your own business, seed, how they call them, you start your own business and then it grows. We'll help you start, but then if you fail, well, too bad for you, And there is I think it's very, very difficult nowadays because life is not kind for our youngsters. I think we had, it was not kind for us, but we had a possibility if we fought to get over it. And I don't see how it's not that I don't see, because I try to do it anyway, but it's getting more and more difficult to tell the youngsters you have a future, but it's in your own hands, and plan what you want and you will succeed. And I feel deep inside that it's the only way to move on and realize what you want to do in life, is to have an idea and work for it. And to tell a youngster now, build your own future, it's in your hands. How do you do that? And that is a very good question, Howard, that you brought up. And, first, how we did it and how we're going to do it for the others is a different.
Difficult.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I thank everyone for participating. It is something that I contemplate daily, and the time is upon us. But before we end, I want to add to Diana's point that the importance of a degree over the ability to interact socially. It doesn't seem to be a lot of emphasis, and you mentioned it briefly too, Ariette. Sometimes when I do the interviews, I ask them, what did you do in school apart from having all these great grades or having, alpha, whatever the different titles are from the degrees? Were you a part of any club? Were you a part of an organization? And a lot of them, are not a part of any of those things. And so it's hard for them to come into the working environment and really grow and socialize and develop, because a job is a job is a job, but it's you're dealing with people, and you have to be able to learn to work with people. But anyway, thanks very much for participating. We've gone a little over our time, and I'm happy for the insight that was given. And I would ask only now for the closing. Jackie, would you mind closing for us with the 4-way test?
Absolutely not.
Thank you.
The things we think, say, or do, is it the truth?
Is it the
truth?
Is it fair to all concerned?
Is
it fair to all concerned?
Will it build goodwill and better friendship?
Will it build goodwill and better friendship?
Better friendship?
Will it be beneficial to all?
will it be beneficial to all?
Beneficial to all concerned.
And it is fun.
And it is fun.
And it is fun.
Rotary around the world. Thanks, everyone.
Rotary around the world. Okay.
Bye-bye.
Have a good week, everyone. Bye now.
Bye. You too.